I spent over 10 years in Saudi Arabia studying Mecca, Qur'an University. And a lot of people always ask, what's it like studying there? And they kind of want to know a bit more about my journey. So I thought today in this video, I'll just quickly go through some aspects of studying in Saudi Arabia and see so that some people can benefit from my journey. Now, when I first became Muslim back in 2007, roughly, I quickly got introduced to a lot of students of knowledge who were actually traveling abroad to study. So I first heard about Qur'an University and Medina University in Saudi Arabia when, just from going to the masjid and, mixing with brothers. And because it was a sponsorship, it was free, and they give you a monthly stipend. For me, it was perfect. I was like, this is definitely where I want to study. But getting into those universities is not easy. You got to imagine thousands of students are applying and you don't even know if you're accepted. You don't get a letter. You have to wait for the following year to see if your name's on acceptance list. And I remember in those days to actually apply, you had to go there in person. So you'll book a ticket, you'll go there in person and put in your applications. And then you have to wait a whole year to see if you're even accepted. I actually applied in the beginning. I applied once or maybe twice, and I never got accepted. I remember just waiting, ringing up students every day, as the list come out, and, have you heard anything? And, it's kind of, when you have that motivation to study, it's kind of disheartening when you see a list come out and your name's not on it. But alhamdulillah, my second time, I actually managed to meet a sheikh in the haram, and he put in a good word for me. And alhamdulillah, that year I actually got accepted. When I got accepted, I'm telling you, I couldn't even believe that I was even accepted. I was just like, I was just shocked, right? I was shocked because I wasn't even expecting to get accepted, right? And I quickly said to myself, I'm leaving everything. I remember having a house in from the government. They gave me a 2-bedroom flat. I gave that in. My car, I sold it. I just got rid of everything. I said, I'm going to study in Saudi Arabia. I remember actually speaking to, I think it was called Housing Association at that time, and asking them, can I sublet this property that the government have given me? And, at the time they said, no, there's no way of subletting, etc. You just have to give it back in. Obviously, there could be some other ways, but I just wasn't even interested at the time. And I remember he said something to me, and he wasn't even Muslim. He said, where are you going, mate? I said, I'm going to Saudi Arabia to study. I want to study Arabic and things. He goes, if I was you, I wouldn't be thinking about a 2-bedroom flat. And when he said that, even though he's not Muslim, for me, it was just further push, like, I'm doing the right thing. Forget thinking about what you have here in the UK. Just go, right? I'm not telling everyone to do what I did, but I'm just saying at that time, it was just a sign for me. So that year, I packed my bags at the end of the year. I remember it was December 2012. I packed my bags and I went. When I first arrived in Mecca, the tranquility, the peace, the happiness I felt was on another level. When I first arrived there, I was excited, just being in that atmosphere, being able to study finally, have formal classes where I can actually go deeper into my deen, deeper into the Arabic language. In Qur'an University, it's basically 6 years of studying. So you do 2 years of Arabic. And at that time, I already knew Arabic, but I just wanted to, really solidify my knowledge. Then you have a 4 years bachelor's degree program. And you have masters. You can go into masters after that if you want to, right? So I chose to go right to the beginning in regards to Arabic language. Even though I knew Arabic at the time, I said, no, I just want to get a lot of listening practice and speaking practice. So I spent 2 years. Alhamdulillah, I graduated from that faculty. You get a diploma in the Arabic language. And then I went into the bachelor's degree program, which is 4 years. That program, I chose to do something which was called Kulliyat al-Da'wah wa Usul al-Din, the faculty of Da'wah and the foundations of the religion. And then they have different sections. My section was Qism al-Kitab wa Sunnah, which is the section of the Qur'an and Sunnah. I remember one teacher was saying they should actually change the name because it's got nothing to do with Da'wah or, giving Da'wah. But anyway, nevertheless, that faculty, it focuses on understanding the Qur'an, the sciences of the Qur'an and the sciences of Hadith. You have other faculties like that concentrate on Sharia, which you will be studying, going deep into the Ahkam and stuff. But I chose that faculty. And the reason why I chose that faculty is because I had an immense love for tafsir. It's something I would do in my spare time. I don't think about it. I read a lot of tafsir of the Qur'an. So I said, this is definitely the faculty I want to choose. However, all faculties in general, all faculties, they study the same subjects for the first 2 years. Even though our concentration in Kulliyat Da'wah Usuluddin is on hadith or sciences of hadith, sciences of Qur'an, we still study fiqh. We still study usul al-fiqh in a basic way. But the remaining 2 years, so look, we got 4 years now. The first 2 years, we're kind of studying the same subjects, all the different faculties. But the last 2 years, you go deeper into your major. So we go deeper into the science of the Qur'an, we go deeper into the sciences of hadith more than the other faculties. If you're in Sharia, you go deeper into Sharia, you go deeper into fiqh and usul al-fiqh more than we do, right? So, I mean, these are just some of the things we study, right? Islamic culture, Arabic language, interpretation of the Qur'an, so tafsir, the Holy Qur'an. Obviously, we have to memorize ajza from the Qur'an as well. We study the biography of the Prophet, Qur'an sciences, Sunnah sciences. They actually had a subject called the English language, but if you're native, you don't have to do it. I don't know why they had a subject for the English language, but yeah, you have to study English as well. In fact, you have an exam on English. I don't know how we were supposed to study, but it used to come up on our jadwal, on our timetable. We also study Aqidah. We study the history of the 4 rightly guided caliphs. So Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar radiallahu anh, Uthman and Ali. So all of them, Ridwan Allah alayhum. We study their biography. We also study something called Islamic culture. We also study usul al-fiqh, so the principles of fiqh. We study something which was very interesting called Mushkil al-Qur'an, which is like certain ayats that may cause a problem, or you may think they are contradicting one another. We have Mushkil al-Hadith and Mushkil al-Qur'an, where we study all those verses or those ahadith that seem like they're conflicting when they're actually not. We study things like Ijaada al-Qur'an, which talks about the miracles in the Qur'an. We study Kutub al-Rijal, which is the books of al-Rijal, and looking at different narrators, going deep into the sciences of hadith. Then we study something called Firaq, which are the different sects in Islam, studying their beliefs. We actually study something called Adyan as well, different religions. So we actually study Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, and kind of have like a comparative studies when it comes to the difference between Islam and these religions. We actually study something called Ilm al-Jarh wa Ta'dil, and so on and so forth. And then some of those subjects we'll study on different levels. So in your first level, you could study Aqidah, but you'll have Aqidah in so many other levels as well. But now you're going deeper and deeper and deeper. So they're like the main subjects that we kind of study, right? And all of these subjects, they're all in Arabic. There's no English, zero English. You're studying a bachelor's degree in Arabic, academically, and you're expected to comprehend and understand and pass all exams. Everything's in Arabic. Exams in Arabic, everything's in Arabic. So alhamdulillah, I really thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I was able to build a very strong foundation in Arabic before I even came to Mecca, which made studying a bachelor's degree program in Arabic very easy, alhamdulillah, very manageable. In fact, we were getting higher marks than native Arab in exams. Alhamdulillah, all of that's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's bounty and mercy. And a lot of the teachers used to actually prefer foreigners over locals, because they saw that the foreigners they had a lot of seriousness when it came to studying, very passionate about studying, and the teachers used to love that about the foreigners when they were studying. Like a typical day, when you're studying in Qura University, a typical day would start with, early morning, getting up, going to the canteen. On the bus, you'll be revising your lessons. You get to the canteen, you eat a little bit. Then you may sit just before your lessons, revise some more, read a little bit more. Then you start your lessons from 8 o'clock all the way to like 2 o'clock. That's generally the routine. And then after that, you get some lunch. Some people may have a small nap. Then from Asr, if they're going to Qur'an lessons, they'll do that. Or a lot of students study in the Haram. And then in the evenings, wind down and go sleep, and you just repeat that routine day in, day out. Then once you have a family, it becomes a bit different. A lot of brothers in the evenings, they start working, right? And it becomes a bit more challenging to kind of like, get to the Haram or to, go to Qur'an lessons in the evening if you're working. So these are challenges, but alhamdulillah, as long as you're consistent, you can work things out. One thing I wanted to say is when you're studying Islam in kind of like this academic setting, you got tables and chairs and exams and everything, a lot of students sometimes lose focus. They kind of focus on exams more than actually benefiting. So it becomes like, okay, I just need to understand what I need to pass exams. And sometimes that can actually affect your overall level, right? Especially in the Arabic language. I remember like students just focusing on an exam and then they forgot that, okay, we're trying to learn a language. So they only memorize things that are going to come in the exam, but it's like you need to focus on actually mastering the language as well in general. You know, alhamdulillah, I don't know what it is, but me, I've always had this coldness when it comes to exams. I kind of just, okay, I don't know what it is. I just do enough that I know, okay, I'm going to pass the exam. Some people get very anxious. Some people stay up the whole night until Fajr. Some people don't even sleep. Then they go to the exams. But for me, alhamdulillah, I just, throughout the semester, just revise, take your notes, everything. Before the exam, I've already got my notes. I kind of make my notes in like document, like in a Google Doc. What I used to do as well, which was very helpful for me, I used to turn notes into questions. So instead of saying, okay, I don't know, for example, the definition of ar-rububiyyah is X, Y, and Z. I wouldn't write like that. I would always write, what is the definition of ar-rububiyyah? And that's how I prepare my notes. And then when it comes to revising, I've just got a list of questions, and you know, I can separate the sheets. I can make a sheet with just questions, and then a sheet with questions and answers. So that's how I generally I used to revise and stuff, alhamdulillah. As you go through the program in the university, it does get a bit more challenging. You know, you will have to do a lot of reading, etc. But again, as long as you have focused on mastering Arabic, it's not that hard. You just have to be reading a lot and make sure you're taking a lot of notes. The subject that I found the most challenging was al-mirath, inheritance. I don't know why, but that subject, I had to actually sit down with another student privately and actually go through it with him. At the time, the teacher that was teaching me, he was just going super fast. He was just speaking super fast. And because you've got a lot of fractions, it's like you can't just rush through that. So that was actually a very challenging subject for me. But in general, like most subjects are very manageable. I never found a subject really hard except for mirath, and I just think I'm not going to blame the teacher, but I just think the way I was being taught, it was just way too fast. So I had to actually get private studies on the side to make sure that I understood that subject. And alhamdulillah, you know, I graduated. I actually took longer to graduate. I took around 10 years, and that's because some semesters I'll take off, you know, to work and make sure that I've got enough money for rent and things. Sometimes I'll reduce the hours, and in Qur'an University, when you reduce your hours, it will take you longer to graduate. And this is actually a trick. A lot of students used to do this. They used to actually reduce their hours so they could stay longer. And then after that, they'll do a doctorate, master's degree as well. So some students are there 15 years, you know. So yeah, it worked out for me. Alhamdulillah, I managed to have longer time in Mecca, which was a blessing for me, alhamdulillah. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, you know, 6 years is Qur'an University is a 6 years program. Like I said, we study so many different sciences. The atmosphere there is amazing, especially amongst students. And it's a memory that I'll never forget. It's probably it's the biggest part of my life, and it's probably the biggest stage of my life that's actually shaped me as a man, as a Muslim. And I really think that experience has had such an effect on me that it's changed the way I see life for the rest of my life. I really feel like just going there at the age of 25, it really turned me into a man. I was always mature when I was younger, I was extremely mature. But when I actually went to Saudi Arabia, you're a foreigner, you don't have help, you don't have family, you don't have everything. It just really put this type of pressure on me that enabled me to like think a lot more, serious about what I want out of my life and where I want to become. And what I want to become. So yeah, I thought I'd just make this video. I know it was kind of a bit random, but I just thought I'd make this video for those people that want to know a bit more about what I was studying when I was in Qur'an, and how my life went. If you have any other questions or anything that you want me to answer, please just write in the comment sections, inshallah, and I will make some videos, inshallah. I try my best to make videos answering any questions. Anyone who wants to actually learn the Arabic language as well, links in the description. Alhamdulillah, I've managed to help so many Muslims get to a level where they can actually understand and speak the Arabic language, alhamdulillah. Anyone who's serious about seeking knowledge, my advice would be just make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask him for ikhlas and sincerity, and just make a move. Wherever you are. I started in my house. Don't wait for the perfect situation. There may be some people watching this video and actually want to apply to one of the universities. Start now, wherever you are. Don't wait for the perfect situation. You know, that could take 2, 3, 4 years for you to get there. Start now, so that if one day you get to a situation where you could travel abroad or you could study, you know, abroad, you've already got a solid foundation. You're already at a level where it's like, okay, you know, you're flying. So that's it for this video. Any questions, like I said, put in the comment section. Want to learn Arabic, like I said, click the link, and inshallah I'll see you in the next video. Barakallahu feekum.